Paddy, that is rice, botanical name Oryza sativa L, family is Gramineae, origin South India, Southeast Asia, uses staple food 60 population uses that, then edible oil 18 to 20%, straw used for manuring, mulching, then bran is used, products are there, broken rice are fed to cattle for poultry feed, then byproducts are there, murmura, lahe, parched paddy or pohe, then there are important research institutes like at Cuttack in Odisha, Karjat in Maharashtra, at Singapore and Hyderabad. India ranks first in area and production in the world. There are 23 species of rice in the world, but 2 are cultivated, and 57% rice means rice ranks 27% in cereal grains in the world. Then soil, it is grown in almost all kinds of soils. It is also grown in coastal lands, coastal soil. pH, it is very important, 5.5 to 7. Then climate, it can be grown in all kinds of climate, but tropical climate is good for its growth. Temperature optimum 20 to 37 degrees centigrade, and rainfall should be more than 1,000 mm. There are 4 methods of cultivation: dry, semi-dry, wet, and intensive method. In case of dry method, where no irrigation is given, it is grown on rainfall water. Plowing is done, and behind plowing, sowing is done. In semi-dry, some protective irrigations, 2 irrigations are given. At 10 to 15 centimeter depth, irrigation is given in the month of July. Then wet cultivation, land is plowed, standing water is given, again it is plowed, puddling condition is made. Seedlings are grown in nursery, and those seedlings are transplanted in the wet cultivation method, or sprouted seeds are also used. Advantages of wet cultivation: plant population is uniform, seed rate is less, then quality of rice is also less, more quality is good. Seed rate for drilling method 60 to 70 kg per hectare, for broadcasting method 80 to 100 kg per hectare. Then seed selection and treatment: seed should be of good quality, reliable source, clean and viable. Treatment should be given KCL treatment, Ciproson, Monoson, or Cipravit, or 3% brine solution, Streptocycline solution, and hot water solution 52 54 degrees centigrade for hot hour. Nurseries are different. Wet nursery, we have studied that in this wet nursery, plowing is done, standing water is given, again plowing is done, puddling condition is made, FYM is mixed in the soil, or green manures mixed, and in the puddled field, beds are made half meter width and suitable length. Seed rate 350 to 450 kg for 1 hectare of nursery, and this 1 hectare nursery provides seedlings for 10 to 12 hectares of land. Dry nursery, it itself indicates that dry nursery means it is a dry, there is no irrigation is given. So this is used in the dry areas where there is rainfall is not sufficient. Plowing is done, manurings are added, then raised beds of 1 to 1.25 meter wide and 10 centimeter height are made. Length should be up to 50 feet. We can reduce or increase the length of bed. Then drainage channels are made around beds, means between the 2 beds drainage channels are made. And then sowing is done. Now here in this case of dry nursery, the seed rate is 250 to 400 kg for 1 hectare nursery. And in this nursery, 1 hectare nursery, you can get the seedlings for 10 to 12 hectares of land for transplanting of seedlings. So this much we have studied during the last lecture. Now let us go to another that is the third is Dapog nursery. Now this Dapog, now this is now new for today. Now this Dapog nursery, what is here? What this is called? This is used where the water is sufficient, water is adequate, and this nursery is prepared on concrete floor. Remember, not in the field, but in the on the concrete floor. Raised beds are made by using soil and polythene papers or banana leaves are covered to avoid evaporation. Then sprouted seeds, those are called pre-germinated seeds, are used for sowing. What is to be done for this purpose? Overnight we have to soak seed in water, and those seeds get little with sprouting, and sprouted seeds are sown in this Dapog nursery. It is as good as it is near about same to wet nursery also. Now seedlings, whatever will be there, they are available up to 14 to 16 days, means 2 weeks almost. And then the seedlings after 2 weeks are used for transplanting. Then this nursery, 30 to 40 square meter nursery area is sufficient to provide seedlings in 1 hectare area for transplanting. So this is a Dapog nursery. Then come to another nursery, another slide, transplanting. Now in what we have studied just now, in wet nursery, dry nursery, Dapog nursery. In these 3 nurseries, seedlings are grown, and these seedlings are transplanted into the main field. Now this transplanting time depends upon water availability, maturity of the plant, varieties, other things are there. But here in this case, now this transplanting time depends upon duration of the variety or maturity of the variety. If the rice variety has a duration of 120 days, then seedlings are transplanted 21 days after sowing. Here you can see, if the nursery, if the variety is of 135 days, then transplanting is done after 25 days. If the nursery, if the duration of plant is 150 days, then transplanting of seedling is to be done 30 days after growth of the plant, means 30 days nursery. Okay, so in general, transplanting of seedlings is to be done after 21 to 30 days of its growth in the nurseries. Then at one place 3 to 4 seedlings are transplanted. Then the planting distance, here in this case the planting distance for nursery, planting distance is same as we have studied in the previous, that spacing is there in sowing. So here there is a spacing for transplanting. Now in this case of spacing for transplanting, it depends upon different types of varieties. There are important 3 kinds of varieties, that is early variety, then medium variety, and late maturing variety. Early variety, just we have studied, if the duration is here, if the duration is 120 days, then it is early variety. If the duration, means life period of rice variety, is 135 days, it is medium variety. If the duration is 150 days, it is a late variety. So in early variety, transplanting distance should be 15 by 15 centimeter. means row to row 15 centimeter, plant to plant 15 centimeter. If it is a medium variety, means 135 days duration variety, transplanting should be done at 20 by 15 centimeter distance. Means row to row 20 centimeter, plant to plant 15 centimeter. If the variety is late, means late maturing variety, means it is 150 days or more than that, then the spacing should be 20 by 20 centimeter. So likewise, these are the spacings. Then let us go to another slide. So this is transplanting. Now then varieties. There are different types of varieties. More than 4,000 varieties of rice are available in the world. In our country, 400 varieties are available. Means in the world 4,000. In India, 400 varieties. And out of these 400 varieties, almost 10 to 15 varieties are most popular because they give good yield, good quality, and other things are there. So the important varieties are likewise where it is given. Indrayani, Basmati, IR8, IR means Indian rice 8, IR20, IR22, IR36, HRI 120, Sahyadri, this Sakoli, Pusa Basmati. Now we know that this Basmati is famous in our area also. Then there are some varieties which are called scented varieties. So these are scented varieties. Now these scented varieties are Pusa Basmati, Ambe Mohar 157, Ambe Mohar 159, Krishna, Ratna, Sabarmati, Karjat 3. Now this from this, these are not, others are not scented variety. So here, now this scented variety means that on cooking it produces or it releases scent. So it is called scented variety. Means on cooking only it gives scent. So these are the important varieties. You have to remember it. Then manures and fertilizers. The manures and fertilizers we have studied during wheat, that recommended doses of NPK. As per that recommended doses, we have to apply the actual quantity of fertilizers that we shall study during our practical. Now this manures and fertilizers doses depend upon the kind of variety and many other things are there. Now this farmyard manure, this farmyard manure, it is called FYM. Now this FYM or compost, it is added at the rate of 12.5 tons per hectare. Then the NPK doses are given here. Now this NPK doses for local varieties, the doses are less as compared with the other varieties. Now what happens that in case of there are two kinds of particular varieties here, local varieties and improved varieties. Local varieties require less doses of NPK. They also require less irrigation, or actually no irrigation is available. And the quality of rice is also poor. Production or yield is also poor. So for local varieties, nitrogen 25 to 50, potash 25 to 50, and phosphorus 25 to 50, and potash 25. So NPK, it is nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium. It is the dose is given in kilogram per hectare. For this much we have to apply NPK. Now this is a nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium. These are the nutrients, not fertilizers. Now, as per requirement of nutrients, we have to calculate fertilizers, quantity of fertilizers. For improved varieties, the doses are more than the local varieties because doses are high. Improved varieties means high producing varieties, high yielding varieties. The doses are nitrogen 100 kilogram per hectare, phosphorus 50, and potash 25. 100 as to 50 as to 25. This is the doses. So we have to remember both of these doses. Then how these NPK are to be applied. Now this nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium have different roles to play. During the 11th standard, we have studied the functions of NPK. In very short, nitrogen is required for physical or vegetative growth. Phosphorus is required for reproductive growth. Potassium is required for root development and disease resistance. Other nutrients are there. So here now how these NPK are to be applied. First of all, this all quantity of or full dose of phosphorus and potassium they are applied at the time of sowing. Now nitrogen is there. Nitrogen is given in two doses. Nitrogen is given in two split doses. Means 3/4 nitrogen is given applied at the time of sowing, and remaining 1/4 is applied 1 month after sowing or at the time of internode elongation. When internodes are growing, at that time this is 1/4 nitrogen is applied. It means 1 month after sowing, 1/4 dose of nitrogen is to be applied. Now this nitrogen should be given in ammonium sulfate form. Nitrogen can be given in ammonical form, but here ammonium sulfate form is good for nitrogen development. Why it is so? Because this ammonical form or ammonium sulfate form is absorbed rapidly and comparatively leaching loss is less, and it also contains sulfur. You know that sulfur is one of the nutrients required for growth. So this is the method of application of NPK. Then irrigation, as we have studied during the last lecture, that this rice can be grown in all climatic conditions, all field conditions. It can be grown as a dry rice, irrigated rice also. So this paddy or rice, it is a semi-aquatic plant. What is semi-aquatic plant? Aquatic plant, we know that the plants which are grown in entirely in water, that is called aquatic plant. Now semi-aquatic plant means this water requirement is quite good. This irrigation should be given more. So it requires more irrigation water as compared with the other crops. So it is called semi-aquatic plant. In Japan and in some parts of our country also, particularly in South India, water is filled in the field, and entire water is grown in the puddled field and watery field. So that is called floating rice. Why it is called floating rice? Because the earheads are seen, look like as if they are floating in water. So that much water is given. So average water requirement of rice is 1240 mm, and this water requirement is more from primordial initiation or internode initiation up to heading. Heading means that is the formation of earheads किंवा त्याला काय म्हणतो आपण, जसं गव्हामध्ये ओंबे येतात तसं याच्यामध्ये साळीमध्ये सुद्धा येतात. सो likewise. Then intercultivation, it is least important. That in intercultivation weeding is done, hoeing is done. Now weeding is done from 15 to 30 days of transplanting, and in case of transplanted field up to 45 days, means roughly for 1.5 months continuous intercultivation is to be given at the interval of for 15 days. म्हणजे दर 2 आठवड्याला intercultivation केलं पाहिजे. Now this intercultivation is done by using rotary weeder for weeding. If you have to remove weeding, rotary weeder means a wheel is there and that is moved between the rows. That will also make aeration. So maximum 4 interculturing can be given at 15 days interval. If the intensity of weeds grown is more, then we can also use herbicides. So or weedicides like Almix, then sulfuron or orzaline or other any one of the herbicide can be used for this removing of weeds. Okay. Now let us go to another slide. Intercropping. Now there are two words expected here: intercropping and crop rotation. Don't forget the difference between intercropping and interculturing. Interculturing means weeds are removed, soil is aerated, and other things are done between the 2 rows of the crop. That is called interculturing or intercultivation. Now intercropping means it is a cropping. Crops are grown where between the 2 rows of paddy, other crops can be grown. For example, in case of paddy, this green gram, sesame, black gram, groundnut, such crops, any one of the crops can be grown. Means 4 lines of paddy, 2 lines or 1 line of green gram, 4 lines of paddy, 1 line of sesame, likewise. So it is called intercropping. Crop rotation we have also studied. Now here in this case, after rice we can grow sugarcane, potato or wheat. That we have studied during last lecture. Or crop rotation can be done after rice. We can grow gram, pea, green gram, black gram, or any other pulse crop. So one more thing we have to remember, that rice can be grown in all 3 seasons: Kharif, Rabi and Zaid. In South India, it is grown in all 3 seasons. In our Maharashtra, except Konkan, rice is grown in Kharif season. Generally, it is not grown in Rabi season because the climate is not suitable. Then plant protection. Now here in this case of plant protection, we have studied the topic of plant protection in detail during the 11th standard lecture. So here, what is the plant protection? We have to protect the plant from its enemies. Now, which are the enemies of plant? There are number of enemies like insects, birds, animals, nematodes. All these are the enemies and they are totally called pest. Pest, remember that pest includes insects also. Pest means any external agent, organism which causes damage to the plant. Remember that this is a pest. Now this external damage may be caused by any person. Even fuse also can be called as pest. Or any person who is damaging a rice crop, he or she may also be called as pest. Now here pest we are studying insects. Now insects, here in this case of insects, yellow stem borer. Now this yellow stem borer, it bores into the name itself indicates that borer means it bores into the stem, bores into any other part of the plant, that is called borer. Now here it is yellow stem borer, it bores into the stem, feed inside, and the plant is weakened. Now what is the control measure? We have to collect and destroy the dead herbs. Dead herbs means the plants which are died due to attack of yellow stem borer. Second is swarming caterpillar. Now this swarming caterpillar means this caterpillar म्हणजे अळी, उंट अळी ज्याला म्हणतो, ज्याला खूप पाया असतात. So this swarming caterpillar gives sound, असा आवाज येतो, जसा भिंग्याचा आवाज येतो, त्यानंतर swarming. So this caterpillar, it consumes the entire plant. Control is same. We have to remove the affected plants, and we can spray 3% carbofuran or 5% quinophos at the rate of 15 kg per hectare. Then rice bug is also there. It also sucks sap. Now when we say bug in any plant sucks chlorophyll, sucks sap during the milking stage. Control spraying of chlorpyrifos 20 EC. EC means emulsifiable concentration. Emulsifiable means emulsion. When oil and water is mixed, that becomes emulsion. But that is properly mixed. Actually, oil cannot be mixed in water. So in this way, this chlorpyrifos, it is made by using this kind of mixture. Then rice hispa, there are beetles, these small insects, कासवासारखे दिसणारे चप्प्या आकाराचे असतात सगळे beetles. They suck chlorophyll from the leaves and white streak, पांढऱ्या पट्ट्या तयार होतात because of sucking chlorophyll. Then control measure, we have to spray chlorpyrifos or malathion. Again same 20 EC or 50 EC. In short, EC again you can remember that suppose 100 liters of container is there. In 100 liters, when there is a 20% this chemical, this insecticide, it is called 20 EC. So it is a percentage. Okay. Then in this case of plant protection, again the paddy gallfly. Gallfly, it looks like a silvery kind of insect. I will show you photograph just now. Now these maggots enter into the stem, consume inside, and silvery shoot is produced. झाड जे आहे पांढरं पांढरं चमकायला लागतं, and there is no production. Control, we have to remove the grasses which are grown on the bulbs, and we can also apply 10% chimate. They are in the granular form in the soil at the time of sowing. Sowing करताना 10% chimate at the rate of 10 kg per hectare is applied, and means this. And in case of transplanting, it can be applied at 10 to 20 days after transplanting, at the time of sowing or at the time of transplanting. These are the important 4 to 5 pests. Other pests are also there: grasshoppers, jassids, aphids, rats, thrips, many things are there. Now in this case of the pests, now in this plant protection, another is disease. Now there are different diseases. One is paddy blast. Paddy blast is because of this reddish color brown spots appear on the leaves, and because of that the stem becomes dark and there is no photosynthesis. Plant will dry. Rotting of necks means the plant at the point of joint or just close to the soil, plant dries and fall down. Control, we have to grow resistant varieties. Then seed treatment can be given before sowing using OMC, that is an organomercurial compound that we have already studied, but even then that OMC control can be used like pipravat, cereson, piprason, etc. And then, or we can use spraying of benalate or this benalate spraying can be done at the rate of 150 gram per hectare. So this is used in 250 liters of water, and such 3 sprayings can be given. Then diseases, another is sheath blight. Greenish grey spots appear on the leaf. Same thing is that leaves turn bluish white or margin, this brown margin is there, damage, it causes severe damage. So again control, varieties are to be grown, and then organomercurial seed treatment is to be given. Then another disease, that is a fruit rot. Now this fruit rot, or it is called or stem rot. There is a little difference between that. Stem rot is for the entire stem. Botany takes place. झाड़ सबने सड़ून जाता है. Fruit rot means only bottom of the plant is rotten, but the other things are same. So here plant remains stunted, no growth, no grain formation, 100% loss. So what is the control? We have to use resistant varieties. Again same, organomercurial treatment 2 gram per kg of seed can be given. Another that is the bacterial blight. This is called due to bacteria. Spots are appear, they become yellow or black color or white in color, leaves dry up and plant die. Now this control is same as we have studied in other kinds of blast. Storage. Now rice can be stored. Now this storage is important, but very important point that storing before storage we have to ensure that the moisture content in the grain is 12 to 13%. Moisture should not be more than 13%. Means before storage we have to dry the seeds. That is the paddy seeds to be used for next season. If you want to use for consumption, then rice can be used. So unhusked rice, that is called paddy, or milled or mild rice, they are to be stored. Now storing can be done, storage can be done at the government owned godowns, warehouses they are called. The warehouses are well ventilated, their fumigation is done and there is no insect pest. So, or in case of sacks, in case of metals, in case metal boxes, wooden boxes at our home we can store. So on the large scale, if you want to store 100 quintal, 1000 quintal, then at the godown, the warehouses, it can be stored and particular facilities are made available. So this is all about rice.